Yahoo! Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Feel free to drop a quick hello in the chat where you're tuning in from.
Guarda che si tratta.
Houston, Orlando, North Carolina.
Nice.
Hey, hello from Seattle. That's where I live. Lucas,
San Jose people
from Santa Clara, my alma mater. Go Broncos.
Wow, people from all over.
I love to see it. So exciting. More people in the waiting room. We will get started in probably a minute or so, just letting people in. Hi from Spokane. You're my neighbor. I'm in Seattle. Cool. Let's get started, everybody. Are you ready to go? Sweet. Jen, if you wouldn't mind keeping your eye on the waiting room, that'd be lovely. And we can get started. So hi, everybody. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to LinkedIn's technical interview workshop called Code In. We are beyond excited to have you all here. Thanks so much for being here.
Just make sure you're muted too when you join so that we don't have any background noise.
Yes. So let's go through a brief agenda of what you can expect today during our hour-long session. First, we're going to do a brief welcome, and you'll see who's going to be speaking today during this workshop. Then my colleague Jen, who you can see on video over here, is going to do a quick high-level overview of our hiring process, just to give you some context as to where this technical interview sits in an interview process. Then I'll do a very quick resume review. Then we are going to move into the mock technical interview, which I'm sure you're all really excited to see, and then wrap up with a nice long Q&A session. See here. So let's meet everybody who you're going to be hearing from today. My name's Edith Anderson. I'm a recruiter on our emerging talent team, working on hiring for technical internships at LinkedIn. The rest of the people on this screen you'll be meeting throughout the rest of our presentation. And then Adam is our lovely resident engineering rapper at LinkedIn. If you have not followed him on LinkedIn yet, I highly recommend it. He does all kinds of raps about working at LinkedIn and the work that he does and all that exciting stuff. So highly recommend to follow. Then Jen is my colleague, who will be doing the review of the intern interviewing process, and then Saranya and Ilya you'll meet later in this session, and they'll be doing the mock interview. So I'll pass it over to Jen, and you can walk us through the intern hiring process.
All right, thanks, Edith. Like Edith mentioned, my name is Jen. I'm also emerging talent recruiter here at LinkedIn, hiring engineering interns, and I'm sure you probably maybe have seen my name before, reaching out to you on LinkedIn and having you join our community. And so just really excited to see you all here today. So I wanted to give a little overview of our intern hiring process and kind of what it looks like, what you can expect in this upcoming recruiting season. So first, it obviously starts with the application. And I want to note that our applications are open come August. So right now we currently aren't posting our roles, but we are just, getting things ready and really just kind of bringing you into our community and just letting you know of our opportunities, as well as having you come to events like this. So our applications will be open come August. And if you are part of our talent community, your recruiter will reach out to you and let you know, hey, applications are open. And that will be your time to go and apply to the roles that interest you. And then once you do apply, we will have a hacker rank, which is a 75-minute coding challenge / assessment. So this will be sent to you via email, and you'll receive this after your application is, picked up by a recruiter, and you'll be sent that link to do that coding assessment. And if you pass that assessment, you'll be moving on to the recruiter phone screen. So this will be just a time to get to know your recruiter. They'll get to know you, your interests, your background, why you got into the field of like engineering and computer science, why you chose your major, things like that, just to get to know more about you and your background and what interests you. There's really no prep needed for this. It's really just a casual conversation, and it's really just a time to get to know about you and kind of what you're looking for. And then past the recruiter phone screen comes the on-site interview, which is what we're here about today, mainly the technical interview. So there will be 2 different modules, is what we call them, for the on-site interview. You'll have the technical module, which is what we'll be running through today. You'll get to kind of see what that looks like and be able to see a practice of that. So that will be one part of the interview. And then the next part will be what we call the host manager module. The host manager module is very just behavioral based. You're going over your learning potential, resilience, how you handle conflict, things like that, your background, and just really going into those parts. Someone, if you're not muted, please make sure you're muted. Thank you. Just want to make sure we don't get any background noise. So with the host manager module, as I said, it's behavioral based. So it's just learning a lot about you. And then the technical module we'll be going over today, so you can kind of see what that's going to look like. But basically it's coding round, and that's what we're going to get into today. So be able to see that shortly. And then after that, we have the hiring decision. So your recruiter will reach out to you once a decision is made after your interview. And that's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward. You can kind of follow along in the process and the steps, and your recruiter will be there to guide you throughout the way. We do really try to check in on you, make sure you know what's going on and what process you're at. So your recruiter will be there to guide you throughout the whole hiring process. So now I'll pass it back to Edith, who is going to go over a resume and kind of what you can do for your resume and how you can prepare for the application stage.
Hi again, everybody. I just wanted to remind you that if you have any questions, either about this resume review we're about to do, or anything about the hiring process that Jen just covered, please feel free to drop any of your questions in the chat. We will be able to either answer them directly in the chat, or we will circle back and get them answered within our Q&A. But just doing a brief resume review before we dive into this technical mock interview. So this resume I pulled actually from a student who interned with us, finished their internship, and then actually signed a full-time return offer at LinkedIn. So they were an intern with us last summer, and now they've since graduated and are a full-time employee at LinkedIn. This was the resume that we saw at their time of application. So this is a really good kind of, baseline or just an example of a resume that caught one of our recruiters' eyes, and moved forward in the process. Full transparency, this is a pretty in-depth resume review. Typically, we don't spend this much time like walking through a resume. But wanted to make sure that we can cover this all together just to give you an idea of how to structure your resume if you are needing some help or pointers or whatever you need. So right off the bat, I like how this resume is kind of broken down into different sections. At the very top of their resume, they also listed their expected graduation date, which is really helpful for us recruiters. I'd highly recommend putting your expected graduation date in terms of like your month and the year that you're graduating, just so we can understand what types of internships you're eligible for. And then up here in the technical skills section, I can see that they're a computer science student kind of working in all different types of languages. Then, moving down here, I can see that they have work experience, so 2 internships. They've listed an academic project as well as a personal project. And I like that these are broken up into a couple different sections, because from the recruiter's point of view, I can tell that this person is really engaged with what they're learning in school right now. So they're applying it outside of school in a personal project. They're going, and spending their summer at another company working on, furthering their CS skills. So I can tell just by looking at this resume that this person, is ambitious and dedicated to continued learning, which is a really positive indicator for us. Also just wanted to briefly note here that just formatting wise, I like the way this resume is written, with a couple bullet points that kind of shares, what they were working on, what they learned, maybe what the impact was of the projects that they were doing. So yeah, I think that that's all that we want to break down in this resume. But again, this is a really good example of, a undergraduate level student that has, had 1 or 2 internships and ended up getting an internship role with us. So really exciting. And we will move right along. We're making great time. This is what you've all been waiting for. This is really, really exciting, y'all. We are so happy to bring you Saranya and Ilya. I'll let them introduce themselves, and they will be running us through a technical mock interview. So take it away, y'all. I'm so excited.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So I'll kick out with a very short introduction first. So my name is Ilya. I joined LinkedIn around 6 years ago, and currently working in a team that expands our advertisement platform for internal advertisers use case. This is when our clients is every team at LinkedIn who wants to promote something. So yeah, feel free to join, to connect with me on LinkedIn and learn if you have any questions. And maybe a quick intro before we start, Saranya.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Saranya. I'm a software engineer in ads reporting team. The team mainly manages the measurement of all the advertisements that you will be seeing at LinkedIn. And it's been 1 year I joined LinkedIn, and I love my time here. And let's dive deep into the mock interview that you all been waiting for. Yeah, handing over the mic to Ilya.
Awesome. So let's start in. Just before that, Edis, can you put both of us on the screen? Is it possible?
You're not seeing it, but you're both on the screen
It's okay.
right now.
It's okay. Let's get back to presentation first. We'll go back to Quadruped. Sorry for changing the order. Anyway, let's start. Hi Saranya, how are you doing today?
Hello, hi. I'm doing good. Excited to be here. Also feeling a little bit nervous as this is my first interview.
Well, congrats on your first interview, first of all. I personally always nervous when I do something for the first time, but I'm pretty sure you'll do great today. So I'll give you all the details about the module, and I'm going to help you as much as I can, so you don't feel as stressed. So, but before, let me introduce myself. My name is Ilya. I already working at LinkedIn for 6 years, and my team is expanding advertisement platform. So this is a little bit about myself. Maybe you can talk a few words about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Saranya. I'm a rising senior at San Jose State University, majoring in computer science. and I'm looking for internship opportunities to start this summer.
Awesome, awesome. So this is great. So let me explain the module before we start so we understand it a little bit better. So this is a coding module where we will be solving a single question, right? So I would recommend you not to rush with the implementation and talk the solution out. Take your time and think about requirements, or explore some possible edge cases, because edge cases usually change implementation and might delay it. So if possible, I would also recommend to think and talk about alternate solution, think about code structure, readability of a solution. Why? Because at LinkedIn, we like to make decisions that thought through, and because any rush decisions can affect member experience and member trust. So this is why it's very, very important to think about problem statement and explore edge cases. So again, like, don't rush. You have all the time for that you need.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you for the explanation.
Okay, so the question we'll be solving today is text justification. I'm pretty sure is that you use this feature in Word when text can be aligned on the left or right side, and it just looks cool, right? So it happened by if the line is not aligned on the right side, then some spaces will be added in between words. So it aligned on both sides. What we need to do? We need to write a function that takes an integer and a single string as inputs, right? The number indicates the expected length of each line, and string is just text. So the result of the function is a single string with spaces and line breaks at the end of each line. Okay.
Okay.
So with that, let's jump to CoderPad. CoderPad is a platform that we use at LinkedIn during the interviews. And before we continue with the mock interview, we want to give everyone in a room about maybe 5 minutes to think about this problem. How would you approach it? What would you talk about with the interviewer? And maybe what edge cases you'll find. And in 5 minutes, we'll get back and continue with mock interview. Okay, so right now it's 11:17. Maybe we'll get back around 11:22 to continue with mock interview. It's your time now. There is a question in the chat about the output. The output is still a single string. And the string includes line breaks. You can use /n as a line break at the end of each line. So when you print this line in the console, it will look, it will be a multi-line. So each line inside will have words, spaces with and extra spaces between words. So the word is aligned on the right and left side. It's like in a text when you click on like aligning on both sides, and it make it looks organized. Center line means that when if there is not enough space, the text will shift to the center. We need text to stretch through the whole line. We would need to write this function that justifies the text. Okay, we're at 11:22. Let's continue with mock interview, and you can compare what were your thoughts with what we prepared for you. Okay. So
Awesome. Yeah. So now, Ilya, you mentioned the question to me to confirm my understanding. Given a string and a positive integer, the task is to justify the string where max length of each line should be that positive integer. So what should be the output justification type? Should it be left, right, or center?
okay, so left alignment is when text in the line starts with the same position and at the first position, right? And the right alignment is when text ends at the same position at the end of line, right? So text is justified is when both left and right alignment applied, right? So meaning the line should start and end at the same all lines should start at the same position, and all lines should end at the same position. Does it sound good?
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so it should be justified on both the sides, from the left, on the right, on both sides it should be aligned. Okay. I have a few other questions. Let me clarify one by one. How should the spaces be distributed among the words in the output during the justification?
Okay, this is a great question, but let me dodge this question to you. How would you think about distributing the spaces?
Let me think. Since this is about justifying the text, I would think distributing the spaces as evenly as possible makes sense to me. So what if the number of spaces cannot be distributed evenly among the words? In that case, maybe we can have more spaces added to the left spots than the right. Is this a good approach?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Also, how to approach if the line is longer than the given length? For example, if there is a word that is longer than the given length itself.
Yeah, nice edge case. Let's, for simplicity, let's assume that it doesn't happen for now, and we can adjust the implementation for this specific case if you have time later.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Also, talking about it, I can also see another possibility where a single word exactly fit the line. If that happens, either we can start the next line with some space, or we can begin the next line with the next word itself. I would prefer beginning the next line with the next word instead of adding any spaces to it. Is this a good approach?
Yeah, like for lines with one word, we don't need to add any extra spaces. Sure, it works for me.
Okay, cool. Another question, how does justification works at the last line? If there are multiple words, how does the justification, should we justify it or not in the last line?
Yeah, like technically, if you have two words in a like somewhere in the middle, you would justify it. But for the last line, usually justification does not apply for the last line. So we don't need to add any spaces.
Okay, then the justification should not be applied to the last line. Makes sense. One last question. So what if the input already has a line break?
Nice. So I would also discuss this edge case as a follow-up if you have time. We can always add input processing at the beginning of like your code implementation to remove the line breaks. But for now, let's not do that.
Okay, cool. I think I have the answers for all the possible cases that are on top of my mind. Did I miss anything?
Right. I think there is still one edge case. What if the input already have multiple spaces in between words? Should we maybe trim it, or maybe spaces at the beginning or end of a line or input?
Right. Interesting. So it seems trimming might be the best option, as the question says the spaces should be evenly distributed. Would that be okay? What's your suggestion?
Sure. Yeah, let's trim it.
Okay, cool. Is there anything else that I missed?
I think it's a great start.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Now that I have an understanding of how the output should be, let me go over the input and try to create the output. Okay, so here it says the length is 15. So let me just create a line for 15, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm creating it just to make sure when I justify it, I am having everything within this line. Okay. I'm going over this input. So first of all, I'll just group these words with the length of 15, and then I will go about justification after on.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Since it crosses the 15, I can't accommodate this word in my first line. So I'm going to just take just these three words here, and then gonna start my second line with sample. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, again, I can't include that. So I'm just gonna add this. I'm gonna start my third line with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, yeah. All these things can be kept here. Okay, I'm going to start now here from like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, again, I can put all these things here. Okay, and then like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, yeah. The left and right can be placed in the line. Okay, and the only word I have is side. Anyway, you said for the last line justification is not needed. So
Yep.
this is going to be my output before justification. So how can I justify it? Okay, so I'm going to assume this is like the initial length that will be adding with the required spaces. So for now, the length is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there is 9 spaces that is occupied out of 15 spaces. So 15 minus 9, I have 6 spaces which has to be filled. So these 6 spaces has to be evenly distributed. So if I do evenly distributed among these 2 spots, so I'm going to do 6 by 2, 3. So I'm going to distribute like 3 spaces here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Likewise, okay, let me calculate this one as well. Like the length is 6 plus 1, 7, 7 plus 4, 11, 15 minus 11, 4. And I have like 4 spaces to be distributed in only one spot. So I'm going to give this to 1. Okay. I think I understand how to distribute the spaces, but I could foresee also the case where there can be spaces which can't be equally distributed. Maybe here it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there are like 14 spaces occupied by this word itself. So I have only one space to be distributed among the 2 spots. So as we discussed, I'm going to distribute the extra spaces starting from the left. So since I have only one space, I will distribute it here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, this is my basic understanding. This is how I'm going to work on my output. So what I'm thinking is, since we know there can be multiple spaces between the words, I'm gonna split the word with the space and have all the words, and then group these words and then justify them later with required spaces. If that sounds good, maybe I can start coding.
Yeah, maybe before we start coding, maybe let's fix line 21 and 22. I think there is still one space missing, right?
Yeah, sure. Okay, for sure. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, there is 14 initial length, 15 minus 14, 1. The one space, there is only one space. I'll distribute in the left. Okay, I think what about this? Like 7, 7 plus 1, 8, 8 plus 2, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 minus 14, 1, only one space. I will distribute it here.
Awesome.
Okay, awesome. So this is the expected output, final output.
Awesome. It makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay, cool. I'll just remove. So this I just added for my understanding. Okay, cool. Let me start with it. I'm going to use a string builder, which is like very efficient to construct the string in Java. First of all, I'm thinking to use Java for my coding. So yes. Okay. So I'm gonna, this is the one I'm gonna return. I'm gonna convert it to string and return it at the end. And meanwhile, as I said, I'm gonna take this text and then trim it.
Okay.
And then split it with space. This is gonna give me the list of words. So I'm gonna have like a string array of words here. Okay, so I'm gonna loop in all these words now. It's like for every word, I'm gonna take this word and I'm gonna calculate like however I have done this, going to find the initial length and then do the justification. That is all in the justification part. But before it, to make a decision whether I'm going to justify it or not, it is going to happen here. So how can I do that? Okay, so that I'm gonna group words that can be accommodated in a single line here. So I'm going to use a variable like current line length, initializing it with 0. And also like list of words which represent like a group of words that can be added in a line. Okay, so yeah, if I start here, I'm going to check one condition. Okay. Which is like, whatever my current word is, if my word length plus current line length, along with it, there is like required space, right? Every word should be separated by a space. So I'm going to check whether this particular word needs a space before it or not. How can I do that? Okay. I think only the first word doesn't need any space before it. After it, all the words needs a space before it. So I'm going to check a condition here where my line words, this is going to have all the words of the current line. If the line word size is equal to 0, this is going to be the first word I'm going to add in the line word. So I don't need any space. If not, I'm going to need a space.
Okay, awesome.
So this required spaces should be kept here. So I added all these values. If it is less than or equal to the max length, I can add this word itself to the line words.
Okay.
I will fill up the logic here. I will also do this else logic. What happens if not? If not, I'm gonna do the justification of my line and then append it to the result. I'm thinking to have justification as a separate module, like some function called justify line, so that we can keep this logic abstracted. Whatever the justification type, center, left or right, we can modify the logic. So to this,
Nice.
I'll create this tab and then I'm going to send the line words. Okay, let me create that function here. Like justify line, which is going to have like the max length, and then it is going to have this list of string.
Okay.
For simplicity, let me just keep this as a words.
So this function is more focused on like a justifying operation itself when you decided what words go to that line, right? And the justify is to handle all the corner cases and processing of the full text itself. It makes sense.
Perfect. Yes, right. So even here, I'm going to use string builder to construct the line, to construct the justified line, and I'm going to return it. I will fill the logic at the end. So for now, let me just have this stub here. Let's assume there is a function to justify the line that gives me the justified line, which I'm going to append it with the result. So once I append it, so that's it. I have created a line. So I'm going to clear whatever the existing words are. And also I'm going to update the current line length to 0. And then whatever the new word which I'm going to have, which I can't add in the current line, I'm going to add it to the new line. Okay, fine. This is when it crosses the max length. But when it is less than or equal to max length, what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to update the current line length because I'm going to use this word, which is going to be like my word length plus the required spaces. Let me put it this way. So required spaces comes first and then my word.
Okay.
So before doing this, since this word can be accommodated in the current line, I'm going to add this to my line words. Okay. Fine. So this is the logic here.
Okay.
Let me, okay, yeah. Also I could see one situation. So when I come out of looping all these words, this line words can still have value. For example, what if I have only like 115 worded string. So if that happens, I will go here. It will add those words to the line words. And then there are no other words to loop over. So it will come out of the loop, but still there are words in the line words that I haven't added. So I'm going to have a condition here to just check when it comes out, my line words array should be empty. So I'm going to check like if it's not empty, add that to the result. So since this is going to be the last word, I'm not going to justify. Instead, I'm going to join every word in that with a space.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me fill the justification now. So in this array list of words, these words can have like just one, there can be only one word. So if it has like just one word, I'm thinking I will just append it directly to the result. I am gonna return like words.get, whatever the word is, I'm gonna append a new line, because since the justification, each word after a list of words, the next list of words should come in the next line. So if there is only one word, I'm going to get the word, append a new line and just return it, or else I'm going to go inside. So first I need to figure out how many spots where I can add spaces to. So like I'm going to write like spots to add spaces. How can I figure this out? If a line has like 4 words, there are 3 spots between the words where we can fill the spaces. So I'm going to do like word size -1. This is going to give me number of spots where I can add the spaces.
Awesome.
Also, given a list of words, I'm going to find the initial length as I did in the dry run. So my initial length is going to be whatever the words I have, I'm going to stream it. I'm going to calculate the length of each word. So, okay, I'm going to calculate the length of each word and then just sum it up. Okay, this should be okay. So I'm doing the sum. And then, okay, before doing the sum, I need to calculate the length. Okay, this just calculates the length. And then I'm going to reducing it to sum each value here. If nothing exists, this is some fail safety condition. Okay. This is going to be my initial length, which is just the summation of all the word length. Now I need to calculate, there can be additional spaces. Also, there can be spaces which can be evenly distributed.
Okay,
So
Saranya,
when I say full,
sorry, let me pause you here. Like I see where you're going. You are on a very right track. Just to maybe save a little bit of time. Like everything looks good so far. So let's maybe paste the solution, and like I want to talk a little bit about it in general, about follow-up questions.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So first of all,
for the time being, I will just copy paste the solution here.
So everything looks good, implementation looks good. So I want to note a few things. Is I really like how you were explaining everything you were doing. This really helps. So this helps you. It also helps interviewer me to understand your thought process and where you're going, what's pros and cons you're evaluating, and so on and so on. Also, I would call out that you were thinking about code modularization and extracting these justify functions that focus on a specific unit of work. This is great. Like it's much more readable and much better to understand. So thank you for that. So let's talk a little bit about time and space complexity. What's your implementation? What's complexity, time and space complexity for this implementation?
Yeah, let me see. Okay, the text is split into words. Later, these words are separated into lines. These words were separated into lines and then did another iteration on the words to justify them. Each of this operation was done to the done with the linear time complexity to the number of characters in the words. So on space complexity, I used string builder to store the justified lines and generated a string object only at the end while returning them. Also, the words are stored in list, which also has a linear space complexity. So I think since string builder efficiently constructs strings with linear space complexity, all the operations here were done with linear time and space complexity. Does this sound good?
Yeah, awesome. It sounds reasonable to me. So let's maybe flip a table, and now it's your time to ask any questions to me.
Yeah, for sure. I have seen you have like 6 years of experience at LinkedIn. What keeps you at LinkedIn?
I like this question. So I can point to many things that good things at LinkedIn, including food and like many others. But all those little items makes LinkedIn a very unique place to work. But I would probably call out LinkedIn culture. LinkedIn culture is engineers at LinkedIn have a lot of power to influence what and how we are doing. So this is more like engineering-driven culture, where it provides the challenges, like pretty much unlimited number of challenges and learning opportunities to everyone, including myself. So I'm still learning. I feel like if I stay for another 6 years, I'll learn so much from this journey. So this is probably this is one of the biggest reasons I'm still with LinkedIn. So yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. Good to know. Yeah, thank you for this opportunity to interview with LinkedIn. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you for interviewing with LinkedIn as well, and wish you all the best. And now I
Thank
think
you.
we are back to Edis.
Perfect. Thanks, y'all. That was amazing. Jen, if you wouldn't mind going back to the slides, so we can do some Q&A. I really hope that that was helpful for everybody. I hope that